Oh, do you want me to address you as Sullivan King or Keaton or both?
Sullivan King's good, yeah.
Sullivan King, cool.
Yeah, that works.
I mean, real funny episode. It's just like, hey, it's Keaton. And you're like, nah.
Yeah, right? You're like, cut. Dude, I don't care. You know, I went with Sullivan King because it was just like that way. Instead of having a DJ name where people like see you on the streets and they're like Skrillex or whatever. It's like, or Deadmau5. It's just, they could say Sullivan King and it was just sort of worked as a first last name thing. If I ever changed mediums and wanted to go into acting or any other field, I could just kind of stick with that as like, you know, sort of my Hollywood name, I guess.
Yeah.
So it made sense.
I think you just gave me my soft opening to the episode, by the way.
Perfect. There you go. Already got it down.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Drinks with Johnny, coming to you from the road. I'm out here with good friend Sullivan King, who's out with Avenged Sevenfold on the road right now. How the hell you been?
I'm good, dude. I'm fucking happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I did. Of
Pleasure.
Course, man. It's been awesome having you on the last few shows. We just started this tour together.
Yeah.
How's it been for you, man?
It's been fucking sick, dude. It's really, really rad. It's always been sort of like the goal to end up doing this kind of crossover tour at this level. So getting to kind of bring bass music and dubstep and all that to a pretty primarily metal rock fan base and see how they kind of react and go out every night to a very, very confused crowd that turns into a very hype crowd is just so much fucking fun. So 3 shows in, it's super rad.
Dude, yeah, 3 shows in. I got to catch you in Cleveland. We were talking about the other day. Such a rad show. I was there with my dad. My dad.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah, my dad lives in Cleveland, just outside of Cleveland, and let's just say dubstep is not exactly his style of music. And but he was watching and he was just like, I didn't know that this could be done this way. He's like, that guy is super talented. I was like, yeah, so this is the fucking shit right here.
So
and I
cool.
told you afterward too, like, after this tour is done, I'm gonna find wherever the fuck you're at. I'm taking my son because I do think that what you're doing is the future for, really for rock. I mean, if we're gonna keep going and doing this stuff, like, I mean, we'll get into all that, I'm sure. Let's get into the beginning. Let's get into like in 2014 when you start Sullivan King. Yeah. And you start performing and everything like that. Obviously, you're a really profound musician. You hear all the neoclassical guitar work that I'm hearing. Very metal, very prolific, as I said.
Thank you, man.
And just what were the influences that led you into dubstep, though? Because and what was the first instrument you picked up?
Yeah. So when I was 11, I picked up guitar. My brother had started drumming like 2 months before that, and I was like, okay, if he's gonna do an instrument, I gotta do an instrument too, and was kind of just bored at home, and instantly fell in love with that, and that was kind of always the goal, was like, go be a guitar player. Then when I was about 18, kind of started to get into dubstep, EDM, not really like the DJing portion of it, but just kind of the sound and sort of the idea of like producing your own music and writing in that way, right? In a DAW seemed really different than just kind of sitting down with a guitar, songwriting, trying to track demos, take it to a producer, engineer, get in the studio for months and months. It was like, okay, people can write on planes and, you know, have a complete song and it goes out on the internet, and then suddenly you have, you know, fans from that. There's a way to perform it. It seemed really cool. So a lot of the early influences were like Knife Party, Skrillex, Excision, Chasing Status, or it's Status in the UK, but Chasing Status here, Noisia, Foreign Beggars, like a lot of the UK guys, and, you know, the newer dubstep kids from, you know, the US, like Kill the Noise and stuff like that. So that's kind of like the gateway into that. And then after like a few years of trying to figure out production and figuring out my own sound, was kind of just releasing random songs and tracks in 2014 up until about 2017. Then it was kind of like all right, I really want to do some kind of hybrid of guitar live with DJing, and it was never like something I wanted to do vocally as well. The vocals came, that came quite a bit later, I'd say, like,
because you could sing too, man. That was another thing. Like, I've been listening to it, and I'm like, the melodies are great too. I don't mean to cut you off on the origin story here, but like, I'm listening to it, and it's all and I'm listening to it, and there's a lot of the influences too of like, your melodies are sometimes go to like the emo world, right? And it's and they're fucking catchy as shit. And I'm like, this is great. Like, I love that you're kind of encompassing all these different genres too. Like, yeah, we could talk like for the most people out there, it's like metal crossed with dubstep, right?
Right.
But there's so much more going on in there when I listen to it. Man.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
That's definitely like the synopsis of the sound. But I listen to fucking everything, you know, so I don't think that there's like really one thing that I like to stick to. And like you said, I mean, vocally, everything's kind of changed for me in the last 7 years since I started doing vocals, and I've gotten a lot of influence from all kinds of bands, everything from Billy Joel to Slaughter to Prevail to whatever. Like everything on the spectrum of vocals is inspiring to me. Yeah. So whether it's that or it's like fucking Jelly Roll or Zach Bryan to whatever, like everything, there's something I can find that I think is inspiring. So yeah, when I started doing vocals, that was kind of like the last piece of the puzzle, I guess, for like my direction and sound.
Right.
And it was mainly because I wanted to do screaming, and it was just kind of really hard in the early days to find good vocalists that wanted to like actually track stuff and then trying to write with them. And, you know, I was still kind of making a name for myself locally or whatever. And it was pretty much of a complete and total challenge to do anything. So I said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. Kind of just learning vocal production, learning how to process shit, learning how to engineer, and track in a bedroom with like, you know, an SM58, just like in front of 2 KRKs and like trying to make it sound good.
Yeah.
And then little by little kind of started to get a little more comfortable with like clean vocals and singing, and then figuring out more songwriting and stuff like that, and had a lot of friends in the LA area that were just the most talented songwriters that I knew and still know to this day. People like Grabbits or Devin from Icy Stars, guys like that were just really, really strong vocalists. And yeah, then it just kind of continued to develop, slowly started to implement that more, and here we are.
Yeah,
so,
dude. Oh, yeah. I'm glad you put all the pieces together, because it's fucking, dude, I'm not from that world at all. Like, Skrillex is kind of the only one I knew.
Right.
Like, going into
that's kind of always the...
like it's kind of like the only one.
Name, yeah.
But I knew that was kind of in this genre of dubstep, right? Like,
for
you
sure,
hear stuff
totally.
and like, it's not that I'm adverse to it. I enjoy the music, but I don't follow the artist, if that makes sense. Like, you just kind of hear it, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking rad, but I'm not like going and listening to the albums. And I'm so glad that I started listening to yours, because literally this morning I was working out and I was listening to... was it what's the name of the first record that you did?
Show Some Teeth.
Show Some Teeth.
Or there's Come One, Come All. It's
Come
an
One,
EP.
Come All before. Yeah.
Dude, such an early
Show
record.
Some Teeth.
Yeah.
While I was working out, and I gotta tell everyone at home, if you need inspirational music while you're working out, it's fucking right here. Because like, it's like it's so like the beat. I'm like doing like a Russian fucking twist with my abs. I'm like, it's like
just at 150 BPM is perfect. Yep. Dude, it's like the #1 thing that I get in my messages or get tagged in is like people hitting PRs in the gyms and stuff like that. And like, even when I go to my gym in Miami, probably once every day or other day, there's someone that comes up to me. It's just like, dude, I'm literally listening to you right now, or I'm lifting. Like, this is so sick. Like, it is definitely gym music. So.
Dude, it totally is. And for those who, you know, they've got a lot of rock fans who listen and watch this podcast, obviously, who are like me, probably didn't look into the dubstep world very closely. Right. But like, one of the things from that first record that I heard was there's a lot more of the rock influence on that one than flash forward to the one you just released last year, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's still there, don't get me wrong, but like, that was like, definitely you could hear, it's like, there's definitely more of like the guitar riffage in that one, which I thought was really cool. And I think for everyone, if you want to check that one out, if that's like your introduction and you're coming from the rock world, that's a good place to start, I think. But then flash forward to the new records. The new record's fucking bomb. It was just really interesting, because I, again, didn't know that you can really... I never thought of melding the two together the way that you have.
Thank you, man.
And I guess... you mentioned some of your influence. Like, you did Excision. You said he was one of your influences. Yeah. You worked with him pretty early on.
Yeah, he's become one of my closest friends. We've done countless shows. I went on tour with him in 2019. I actually this week fly out to do 2 dates with him in Toronto and Montreal. So
I'm gonna get into your traveling schedule.
Oh yeah,
dude, this guy
dude,
is
it's so gnarly.
Nuts,
it's so fucked. It's this tour especially is just so absolutely fucked.
Yeah, but go back to Excision, and then we'll get to that fucking that grueling schedule. You're on.
I mean, he's just such a pioneer of so much in this scene, and has like really carried it through a lot of like its sort of darker periods. You know, every genre kind of goes through its peaks and valleys, and like, you know, mid through the 2010s was definitely a big valley. And it really just started to come back, because I think he really drove the sound into a new direction and gave this fan base a place to live with like his festivals, Lost Lands, Base Canyon, stuff like that, and you know, gave me a platform to really sort of excel and you know, expand on my sound and stuff like that. And yeah, we've done I don't even know how many records. Pretty much every album that we've put out, one of us has put out in the last 5 years. We have collabs on. We've done some singles and remixes and stuff like that. So he's the man, dude. He's my boy,
dude. A lot of the collabs there too. What was what was her name? Something Lee.
Katie Lee.
Katie Lee. Thank you.
Yeah.
I heard her on. That was on Show Your Teeth that you did a song with her. Have you done several with her?
No. So she actually, I did one song with her as a vocalist, and then she last year launched an actual production DJ project called Alley Cat, and she's on fucking fire. Like she is crushing it. So she still sings on her records.
Fucking rad voice.
Yeah, dude, she's so good.
Yeah.
Super sick voice. Yeah. So she's really cool. She does like experimental bass music and stuff, kind of like a little bit more on like the chiller side, and just really good songwriting as well. She's dope. Dude,
on the touring though, we were just talking about this tour here. Yeah, also, cheers.
Cheers,
Thanks
man.
For being on
of
here.
Course.
Thanks for being on the tour as well and on the podcast here today.
My pleasure, man.
Super stoked to. I mean, we met in was it Madison Square Garden? Is that where we first met?
Yeah.
You were there with was that with Brandon Saller from A Trade?
We happened to just be there at the same time. Yeah,
that's what it was.
So he was there for his birthday, and he was at the show. We literally just ran into each other in the crowd, and I was there just because I happened to be in town visiting family and stuff. And Matt was like, "Hey, let's kick it at the show." And long story short, now we're on tour.
Yeah.
So,
so glad that happened.
Yeah, for real. No, it was such a kick-ass show,
back to the
man.
production, and like I was saying at the top, like watching you in Cleveland, like I told you afterward, I was like, I didn't know what kind of production you had.
Yeah.
You know, it's different when you see it online, everybody, you know, like
yeah,
when you go experience it.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And I know that your travel schedule, like everything about it, I think it's inspiring to me to see artists like yourself and all these other guys that, or whatever, the dubstep, whatever. Let's just say artists like yourself.
Yeah.
That are able to do this kind of travel easier, like fly in, fly out. I know that it doesn't make it easy by the by, but like easier in the sense where it's like you go in, it's you and how big's your crew?
The crew's grown decently for a DJ project, let's say. So like it's like a crew of 6. Which normally, like for DJs, it's like a crew of 3 max.
Right,
so 3
you got like a
max.
tour manager, production manager.
It's like TM, and then usually you'll have like someone local doing media, and then you have like a front of house doing visuals, like a VJ. And then maybe if you get to a certain point, you bring like a laser guy or a lighting director or something like that.
And that's pretty much where you're at.
Yeah, so we have it's that plus it's TM, production manager. We started traveling with our LD on this tour, Jason, who's dope, and then I have my VJ who does all the visuals, and I have my laser op who does all the lasers, and then media and a guitar tech. So it's a solid crew. It's like it's a crew of 8 right now on the tour in between a lot of the shows.
Right. I mean that is a solid crew for that, but even still, it's not like. You know,
no, it's not you guys with fucking semis and fucking how many buses? Yeah, dude, gnarly. Like we were freaking out because the last tour I did, we had 2 buses, and it was like a crew bus and an artist media bus, and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot. It's getting big,
and it gets expensive. Is my point. Like the way that you can travel and still put on the show that you do, like it was very inspiring because I was like, because we come from the world of rock, we've been doing it for fucking 20+ years now, and it's like. Yeah, this is the way we do it. This is the way we do it. And there's 5 guys to begin with on the fucking band. So, like, I'm just saying, like, looking at it and seeing you being able to be, like, by yourself on the stage with that wrap screen and the screen behind it. I didn't even get to see the lasers because in Cleveland...
in Cleveland, they have some weird permitting shit.
I guess so.
Yeah, we submitted paperwork a month ago and just didn't get back in time, so cut lasers. Sorry, Cleveland.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cleveland missed out, but we're here in Grand Rapids, and you said that Grand Rapids is really big for dubstep.
Yeah, this is my town for sure. A little bit more than others, I'd say. You got a lot of festivals here and a lot of stuff nearby, Electric Forest and stuff like that. So Chicago's on the other side of the pond. You've got tons of stuff there from North Coast to beyond Chicago, Lala. So there's a ton of people in this region that come out for bass music, which is gonna be good.
It's so interesting to me because I mean we've been coming here for a few years now. I mean, we've been coming here for a while, but I mean it's
just to Grand Rapids or just in general.
Grand Rapids in general. I mean, no, specifically Grand Rapids has been like something that was like, but it seems like I didn't even expect metal fans to be here. I didn't know what I expected to be here.
Yeah, it's a cool town, man.
Over the years, I've known that we've been able to come back and do some fun stuff.
Yeah, there's a really good small local scene here with like not massive venues outside of Van Andel, but you have like Section Live around the corner, and there's a lot of bands go through there that are sort of up and coming and stuff, and it's a sweet little spot. We try to come through here and sort of give this group of people a little bit more than they normally would, because it's it's a little bit off the beaten path for most bands. Like you go hit Detroit and then you go down.
I just think for most people at home, they're like, "Where the fuck is Grand Rapids?"
Literally, yeah, straight up. It's just like, okay, whatever.
I mean it's becoming more known, and I think because of what you're talking about.
Right.
But I mean, when I was a kid growing up, I never heard of Grand Rapids before.
That was never what you saw on a tour flyer, and you're like, "That sounds so cool." I'm gonna get that. It's like there's a few cities like that. It's like that and Greensboro and shit like that, where you're just like, "Who the fuck is?"
Funny enough, I was just in Greensboro before we started this story. Yeah, I went out. I'm a big wrestling fan. Are you into professional wrestling at all?
Not really. I like the TikToks of them. I like the highlight reel, when I see shit happen, I'm like, oh, this is crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, it was Sting. It was Sting, the Icon, his last match in AEW. So I went out there and caught it before, which is why I missed rehearsal the first night. But
no
that's
shit.
A story for another day. Yeah, man. So speaking of the travel zone, all the cities that you're going. The other night when we were like first hanging out, you were telling me you were about to go to fucking Vegas the next day from Toronto.
Yeah.
So and then as you started bringing up all these days off, like on this tour we have days off. Obviously, he does not.
No,
he's flying out to a bunch of different fucking places.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And that goes back. I guess this kind of ties into the production thing too, because it allows you to be able to do that. Like, we couldn't fly out with anything like that and come back and do that.
No, you'd have to do multiple setups and sort of like get into a very big, A++ kind of touring thing where you have multiple rigs in different cities at a time. And it's like, okay, we're going to set up backline in Vegas. And then that way when you show up, it's ready to go.
One day we'll be doing that. Don't worry.
Right. I mean, it's super cool, man. I'm insanely lucky to be in the space that I am, where it's a little bit more plug and play. You can show up with a USB if that's like sort of the last resort. We like to put on a show, so
of course,
there's a little more work that goes into it. But we've done double ups, is what they're called, where you play 2 shows in a night kind of thing, and it's like you show up in a city, play, and then fucking bounce and go play another set somewhere. And we did that like on the last tour, where it was like we played Buffalo in the morning, flew to Charlotte, played a festival, got on a jet, flew back to Buffalo, played another show, and it's like 3 and 24 hours. And
so I guess my question, as you're saying that, what were those shows looking like at the? I mean, we're in week 1 of this tour. Yeah. So production wise, when you went to Vegas, when you went to Charlotte, what did you bring? Did you just USB plug in and go, or did you bring some shit?
The whole crew. The whole crew went. We had a full production of fucking 16 lasers, full wall, flames, the whole thing.
Do you just rent that shit when you go to Vegas then?
Yeah, because
obviously didn't fly what you had in Cleveland, right?
No. Yeah. So the lasers that we have on this tour stayed on this rig, because we had to also have them set up. Unfortunately, we didn't even use them in Cleveland, so that was cool. But they would have been set up for the next show, and then that way when we fly in, it's just good to go. So, yeah, I mean, that was that show. Is we did Toronto on the 7th together, drove across the border to Detroit, flew out of Detroit airport, because only way we could get like a nonstop there.
Right. Not getting that out of Toronto anyway.
Yeah, so we did that, and then had a 3 a.m. jet back to Cleveland, and then landed, slept for like 2 hours, and then on the plane or on the stage and fucking
Dude's hustling. That's
gotta keep
such
them
a
happy,
cool,
man.
And that's what I mean by like inspired. When you told me all that, I was just like, you're in your late 20s now, but you're still young. This is time.
I'm running out the clock on my 20s. I got like 4 months left right now.
Is it really?
I got 4 months and 4 days.
When's your birthday?
July 15th.
July 15th. Yeah. It's coming right up, man.
Dude,
you got big plans for it?
Fuck no. I want to do nothing. I'm like, just let me hide away and just in silence. Last year I got kind of roped into a travel for my birthday, where my wife's best friend was getting married in Florence, Italy. Oh, and she was like, place, it was really cool. I was not excited to go at all, because I was like, I'm going to have my birthday off. I'm going to be home, because the year before I was traveling in Europe again. And we had just had a kid and stuff. And I was like, I want to be home with my son for, my birthday would be cool. And she was like, I can't wait to go for your birthday. And your birthday's on the same day as her wedding. And I was like, whoa, how are you making the plans for this right now? Like, she's like, well, we have to do it, right? And I was like, what do you fucking mean?
It's my fucking birthday.
My birthday. And you're like, we're going to a wedding. I was like, okay. And so it was kind of like a little bit sour at first. And then once we like got there and kind of hung out, I was like, all right, this isn't the worst thing ever. But
yeah, it's not a bad place to spend a birthday.
No, it could have been worse. And it was the most like extravagant wedding on the fucking planet. It was in like Vogue, Italy. Like,
shit.
Like, it was crazy. Her best friend just had the most beautiful wedding. So, you know, shout out the Salzmans. They threw a great birthday party for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. That's what it was.
And the wedding was just the entertainment for me.
Yeah,
but, you know, exactly, dude. But it was dope. And we had a good time. But yeah, so this year, I'm sure some show will pop up and my agent will be like, hey, do you want to go play a club somewhere? And I'll be like, fuck it, okay, whatever, something to do.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to do, which is like 10 days after that, is I'll go see Billy Joel's last show at the Garden, probably. I'm a huge Billy Joel fan. So.
Dude, I love Billy Joel as well. I'm probably not as huge of a fan as you. I do love Billy Joel. I mean, fucking no doubt.
Yeah.
And when we were at Madison Square Garden, like we were just talking about, like, seeing his banners
of like 140 fucking consecutive shows.
I had no idea. That was my first time ever being in Madison Square Garden when we played.
Okay.
So like, and I walked the whole fucking. Did you walk it at all? Were you able to? Or
yeah, I went around a little bit backstage and got to check it out. And then after the show was over, just kind of looking around, being like, "This is fucking crazy."
It is insane. Like the dressing rooms, like all the suites, they all have like their own thing. That skywalk up there, I'm terrified of heights.
Really?
I did the skywalk because there was nothing, like we were waiting around for everything to go up, you know, the unions in New York and everything like that.
Like 4 p.m. You're like, hey, we got doors an hour and a half. Yeah, we got lunch for 2 hours.
We had a
see ya.
we had a fill-in for our sound guy too. So we wanted to do a rehearsal. We just like we barely got like a little bit of a sound check in. But long story long, I'm walking around back there and I'm looking around at all this stuff and I see those banners and I was just like, so when you bring it up, I mean, he's going to put up another banner. He's going to put up another banner.
Yeah, it's like it's 150th consecutive sold out show, which is crazy. Like that's just nuts. He did a residency of like one a month for the last how many years? I think it was like a decade or something.
Yeah.
So I've seen him a couple times at the Garden and a few other places, but that's the one show I'm trying to get to just to close it out.
Dude, do you play piano then too, or
no? I wish.
Okay. I wasn't sure because I mean, you got to mess around with the keys a little bit. For
I know
yourself.
I know my way around a keyboard. Like I figure out melodies and kind of do my thing at home, but like it's one of those things that's like a total like resolution every year of like I'm gonna learn piano and then just.
I have the same one, dude. I got this grand at my house that like came from my mother, or my mother's, sorry, my wife's. That's a weird Floridian
mother of my children. What I meant to say.
Thanks for picking it up there, Sullivan. But yeah, so from her family, we have this piano, and my son turned 7 last month, and I'm like, okay, that's the time I want to, but I have to get it all like cleaned up. I mean, it's dusty. Some of the keys ain't working, you know, but. And I tell myself I've had that thing for probably 8 years now. And I tell myself every year, I'm like, this is the year where I'm going to get it cleaned up and I'm going to learn. Because, you know, I could fumble around some notes too, but I can't play piano.
Dude, it's just one of those things, like, if I'm being honest, I just want to be one of those dicks that flexes in airports and, like, sits down and plays Interstellar. Even if that's the only thing I learn is just...
I know one of those dicks. He happens to be on this tour. Sinister Gates, I'm talking to you, motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm out on that one, but yeah, dude, just sit down and be like, oh, look at this in this beautiful Italian restaurant and freaking just thank you, everybody. Yeah, of course. I just want to be able to do that one time,
or just like at like a dinner party.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and just sit down and just everyone's just kind of drunk and they're just like, oh my god, looks at my wife, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah, babe, you're so lucky. Just as a reminder.
That's what they love. They love to be reminded of how lucky they are.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to do it for creative purposes. Just to be a total.
It's out of spite. It's out of
100%.
Yeah. Those are the best reasons, I think.
For being a musician, of course, dude. Someone's gonna clip that and it's gonna be terrible. There's gonna be like, they're both such assholes.
They're not wrong.
God, dude.
Back to the Piano Man, though.
Yeah.
What was your first Billy Joel record? That you fell in love with their song?
My favorite song of all time is New York State of Mind by Billy Joel. That is my literal favorite song. A lot of my family's from New York, and every time my wife and I go, it's the best city on earth, and it's just, I don't know why it hits home, but it does. So That one. The first record, I mean, I heard Piano Man growing up from my dad and Only the Good Die Young, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, all the hit kind of records, you know. But then once I kind of started to dive into the discography a few years back, it's like everything from And So It Goes, Vienna, The Stranger. Like the Stranger record is just so brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
the record I got into the most, I think, was Songs from the Attic.
Yeah.
That one, it had so many hits on it, man. So many hits.
Yeah.
Do you know all the words, and could you recite the verses to "We Didn't Start the Fire"? Though.
Fuck no. All I know is just it's the best. The best line ever written is "JFK blown away." What else do I have to say? That is the only line that matters in his entire discography.
That's fair. That's fair. I just remember there's a movie Black Sheep with Chris Farley and David Spade, and they're like on a road trip.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this movie, but like no, they're doing, the old school road trip, and every old school radio FM stuff.
Right,
of
course.
Like, whatever comes up, and they'll sing the chorus. Everyone knows the fucking chorus.
Right.
But then the verse comes in, they start mumbling.
Bits and pieces. It's one of those I'm going to miss some words if I even try and embarrass myself. But it's just, it's what the first two are, Harry Truman, Doris Day, and then I'm like something, Johnny Ray, fucking.
You already know more than me right there.
Marilyn Monroe's in the first line somewhere. Yeah.
There's a lot of pop culture in it. Amazing music video though. I remember as a kid it was on MTV all the time,
right,
know, like it was, which was kind of weird because I mean, even at that time Billy Joel was considered like an older rocker.
Oh yeah.
And for him to be like all over MTV, which was the new young hip thing,
like in the late 80s and 90s, was still just cruising on it.
So rad.
Just holding on to that curly fucking hair, just receding.
As it keeps going.
Just like shit.
Hey, I ain't casting, I ain't throwing stones in a fucking glass house. I know what's happening back here.
Yeah, right, dude.
We were talking about that though. We were backstage in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
We were all talking about our hairlines. Yes, we're all vain sometimes.
My biggest fear, dude. When I'm gonna be on a
You've got
flight
a great
to
head of
Turkey,
hair.
I'm trying to keep it, man. I'm doing so much.
Yeah, you said Turkey. I'm like, you don't have to go all the way to Turkey anymore, man.
You know, I can do it here. Cheap enough.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know what your budget is. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, I ain't going to Beverly Hills. No shot.
I mean, you grew up in LA, right?
Yeah. I was born and raised there, and I moved out in 2019.
You moved out to Miami. You said,
yeah,
2019.
Yeah, don't worry, we're not vain at all. Fuck, of all places. Now.
I love Miami,
it's
man.
The best city, dude. Next to New York, but
I don't know if so. Your favorite's New York?
That's my favorite city. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about it?
It's just it's the fact that you can get just about anything at any time, culture-wise. Like granted, weather permitting, it can be the best city. I think it's the best city if you have access to what it has to offer. Like it's not like a city that I could see myself really living in at this point. But as far as like if I got to go somewhere,
it'd be tough.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot, especially for what I do.
Yeah,
like travel, it just couldn't happen. But as much as I've been around the world, there's so many places that I love and would love to go back to and visit. But I just think there's so much there that's so brilliant.
I've always loved my time in New York. We've always, for years since we did City of Evil, we would go out there and mix with Andy Wallace, and he had this great place just next to Madison.
Or
he is.
Yeah.
He lives outside. He lives out in the Jersey area.
Yeah.
But
like
he would
Montclair
always
or
something like that. Yeah. We actually went out to his house. Fucking incredible.
Sweet,
it was rad. It's a modest house for how legendary Andy Wallace is, right?
Yeah.
But it's a really nice house. What's more incredible is his basement has all of the equipment that he's used since like the fucking 70s, sitting in corners. Some of it's still working. Some of it it's all working, but some of it he hasn't brought out in a long time. And he has so many gold and platinum records from everything that he's done that they literally like he hangs a bunch of them and then he has like some of them just stacked. Like he just has he has so many that he has no wall space for them. It's like it's fucking incredible.
Wild.
It was next level. His car collection.
Oh no.
Dude, are you into cars at all?
I fucking love cars.
Yeah? What's your favorite car?
I would an Aston Martin.
Aston Martin,
any Aston, I don't care.
Yeah, that's a fucking sick car.
Yeah, that's always been my dream, and I've come really close to pulling the trigger on one over the last like 2 years, and just haven't done it.
Yeah, well, that's a Miami car. That's a Miami car for sure.
For sure, yeah, 100%. It's not even cool enough to be a Miami car, dude.
Nah, that's true.
Every car.
Dude, I've been down there on the fucking strip.
It is fucking crazy, the cars that roll around there. Like, it is, from my window, like, you can hear, at this point, like, I can tell from just from all the different exhausts that, like, what car is going by. It's either an SVJ Aventador or it's a fucking McLaren or whatever. Like, I walk outside and it's just Lamborghini Uruses and Cullinans and everything everywhere.
So that just, like, sparked a question to me, like, and this might seem very dumb and layman because I'm not in the dub world, but, like, would you use any of those sounds, knowing that you can recognize those sounds? Is that something you would be able to use as a muse when you're creating in your fucking place?
Yeah, 100%. Like, inspiration for, like, what we do that's the cool thing about dance music, because there's so much of, like, that's a cool sound, I'm gonna turn it into something. Yeah, right. Because, like, it's all just, like, what kind of tickles your ear.
Well, and I think a lot of people, even if they're not in that world, could, like, maybe or understand, like, even a layman or someone who's not even a musician. Anytime you ever put your fucking blinker light on and went ding, ding.
Oh, it's
ding,
a tempo, 100%.
Start going, like, fucking, like, making up your own thing. Yep. That's, like, got to be, like, the same thing,
adding,
right?
like, 100%. 100%, that's a tempo, and you're just sitting there, just, if it's going ding, ding, and you're like, ding.
Yeah.
And you just pick up a moomaton or reggaeton beat or something, especially in Miami. It's like, that's all I hear, is just boom, boom, bam, boom, boom, bam, boom, bam, all day.
Going deeper into Miami.
Yeah.
All right, you came from LA. You got a wife. You got a new kid. Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
He's turning 2.
He's turning 2 in like 3 weeks. Yeah,
dude, such a fucking rad age.
I'm so excited. He's so cool.
Yeah,
he's the coolest.
Kids
kid,
are the fucking best.
Yeah,
I did see you post, like, I don't know, a couple months ago. You created a sound off of him cursing.
Yeah,
that's pretty
put
awesome.
Into a song. Yeah, he's like running around the house, just going fuck, fuck. And I was just like, no shot right now. And it was literally 3 days before he was starting school, and I was like, oh no.
Oh no, it's the best. No, dude,
shit.
No one cares. Okay, here's the thing. I mean, maybe people care out there. I don't know, but, like, I'm a new parent ish too. I mean, he's 7, but, like, it still seems very new to me, right? When we were growing up, it was always you can't curse and stuff like that, and I'm like, dude, if you've ever traveled and walked around, like, everyone fucking says anything. You know, like, it doesn't matter. And yes, there's a place and time, so you just teach your kid, like, just don't fucking say it at school, right? You know, because, like,
well, he's just not, and he's not there yet. Of, like, I know not to say it.
Yeah,
like,
he might just drop it.
He's gonna 100%. Like, he's just running around the house just saying it. Like, he's not saying it like, "Fuck, Dad." Like,
no.
You know, because he heard me say that
100%.
Does not understand the context. Does not understand that if I'm like, you don't say that, he's just gonna be like, okay. I'm like, God damn it. But,
so you might as well make a fucking cool beat out of it.
I was like, all right. People were like, so this is going to be in a song, right? And I was like, yeah, okay. So right before tour, I think I had, like, literally it was a couple days before leaving for tour, and I was supposed to be working on sets and stuff like that, and I was just like, I'm going to do this instead. So,
Well, I bring up that to circle it back to Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's a party town, man.
Oh, 100%.
Like, so what do you... And you've been there since 2019, so, you know... Kids comes around in, like, 2022. You had 3 years of party life there, right? Like,
I mean,
nightlife and stuff.
Not really.
Well, you had your wife there.
There's 2 reasons, though.
Your wife's got to party with you sometimes, right?
No, but the thing is, like, we don't party. Like, we don't. I've never done drugs in my life. I drink a little bit. But, like, I moved to Miami because it was just a cost-effective thing to do. Being a DJ, it was like I'm gone on the road 250 days of the year. Going in and out of LAX is a nightmare. I was just over it, and I was like, between that, like, LAX, taxes, and just real estate in Miami, being like, I can get a little condo across from the ocean, have a beautiful view, and food. And it's also, there was a couple of polls or, like, studies that came out last year that Miami was the healthiest city in America at this point. So it has the highest population of people that consistently work out daily. And that was really inspiring to me because I love to work out. My wife loves to work out. So we moved there, and we were doing, like, 5-mile runs every day and doing all kinds of stuff. And we already get enough of, like, a nightlife culture on the road. Yeah. Coming home, I was like, I don't want to go out.
That is
drink,
interesting. So. I wondered about that because you're basically the host of a party
100%
every night. So, like,
exactly.
I mean, I get exhausted hosting just family and friend gatherings and hosting parties at my house. You know, we do it often. We're an entertaining family.
Yeah.
Like, we just I do enjoy being the host.
Me too. Yeah.
But it does get exhausting.
Right. And so, like, being on the road already and being up until 3-4 in the morning, and then having to get on a flight at 9 a.m. to go and sleep all day, to then go be up until 3-4 in the morning across the country. It kind of, I come home and it's like, I want to sleep, I want to wake up, I want to go to Whole Foods, I want to juice and make some fucking ginger lemon shots, go to the gym, get up early at 5 a.m. and have my coffee and then just kind of go out for a nice run and everything. So, and work on music. So yeah, it was more so that side of things, was just ease of travel because we're so close to the airport and it's a super healthy place to be. So you can definitely get lost in the lifestyle side of partying and the darker side of Miami, which is definitely available 24/7. But it's kind of like,
there's a lot of distractions. As Stephen A. Smith says,
dude,
there's a lot of distractions in Miami.
Yeah, dude, it's gnarly. We lived across the street for a little over 2 years from like the two main clubs that are 11 in Space. Yeah. So, I'd gone to Space a couple times with a few friends and was just like, yeah, this is so much more than I need at any time. So like we would sit on our balcony and we could look at the people coming out at like 7 a.m. from the club and just like in their clothes, just stumbling and just like, we're out there having our coffee and be like, all right, let's go to the gym.
You're selling me on Miami.
Dude.
By the way, like I'm here. I mean, I've been to Miami several times. Done the party scene mostly, but I've also done the food there. Like as you mentioned, is fucking incredible.
That's the other thing too, man. Like the cuisine, they're catching up on a few sort of like cultures for food.
Right. I had amazing sushi there last time I was there. That was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, the sushi now is like very comparable to anywhere else I've been in the country. And everything that's sort of come down there has pretty much come from New York or from London. Right. So like all the Michelin restaurants and stuff, because I'm a very big food person. I love to cook. So all the stuff there, like there's so many Michelin guide places that have come down. There's like the Coats and stuff like that of the world. And it's really just become an insanely booming place that I just can't see us leaving.
Yeah.
It's hard, but.
Dude, everything you said, all the points you said, healthy, close to the airport.
Yeah.
Taxes.
Taxes is the big one, man.
I'm gonna have to talk to my wife.
Yeah, it's definitely a place to go visit for like a week, and that's what we did. Was we finished up a tour and we went out for a week. And we're like, we had a couple friends that lived there at the time.
Airbnb it and really get to ingratiate.
No, I mean we just got a hotel, and then we said like, hey, let's get a realtor and just kind of show us some places. And when we went to check out a few different spots, and it was like, now it's expensive. Like now it's as expensive as like an Austin or a Denver, things like that. Like in the very high end areas.
Yeah.
Still cheaper than LA.
Right.
Definitely cheaper than New York, San Francisco, all those. But it's insanely clean. And we went and checked out like 4 apartments. The second one we walked into was like a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom, beautiful place, luxury thing. And we were just like, yeah, this is gonna have to happen. And we literally went home, signed a lease, and moved 5 weeks later.
That's
and we were just gone. Yeah. So.
Dude.
And now,
it's just funny to like you've traveled a lot of places. I've traveled a lot of places. Like for me, I mean, I make the joke about like everything you said about Miami. I'm dead serious. It does sell me on the points because I know what you're talking about.
Right.
I've been there, but it's hard for me to leave Huntington Beach where I'm from,
of
like
course.
where I grew up, because it's just. It's this little pocket. Just feels like home. It's my comfort food. Speaking of food and stuff like that, it's my comfort food. If that makes sense.
No, 100%. I mean, it just sounds like you need 2 places.
Yeah. Multiple places.
Come on now. Yeah, dude.
That's what we're out here working for, right?
Literally, dude. Yeah.
You mentioned you're into food though. Like you're a bit of a foodie, but you said you also cook. Like, what's your favorite dish to cook your wife?
Dude, that's always like what. Fucking, I hate getting asked that question because I'm always like so basic
sorry,
with it. No. It's a great question. It's a great question. I just like never really. It's always changing. I don't really know how to answer it. I'm very basic with the cooking. Like I'm not like a professional. I'm far more of a dilettante at this than anything.
Okay.
But it's like for Valentine's Day, I did. What did we do? I did like we did a 3-course thing, like a 4-course dinner, and the best thing that I did was like an espresso crusted lamb with a chocolate ganache beurre rouge and like a asparagus and maitake mushroom with like truffle, and it was really, really fucking good.
Damn.
Yeah, okay. But it's not like a favorite thing to cook, yeah.
I'm like... I can't let my wife hear this episode.
Yeah, no. You're like, I made her some cornflakes for breakfast. Fucking.
No, because I'm like, she does a great. She's the cook in the house. She does a great job. She's a phenomenal cook. I can't touch what she does.
Right.
But I'm the grill guy. I'm like
totally,
I'm
yeah.
the meat guy. I'm the grill guy. All that stuff. Like the holidays. I'm the one who does the bird. I'm the one who does the roast at Christmas and stuff. And I'm like, I'll always like puffing my chest out around the house afterward. Like, yeah, that's right. You're lucky. And she's not allowed to see this because I ain't touching anything like that.
Yeah. Dude, it's such a passion and like something that is really great for like just turning off from the music side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and just putting on a podcast, AirPods in, and then just, you know, cooking in the kitchen for like 3 or 4 hours. Of course, you know, it's always like the cleanup that sucks after. That's always what everyone's fear is.
Yeah.
Just having like a completely destroyed kitchen.
That,
you know,
it is true. I found like the key though. I mean, I don't know. So we have a house cleaner, right? But it's not like a live-in maid or anything like that. And I don't live like that, people. Don't worry. But like, you know, you have your maid that comes like twice a month or whatever.
Right.
I always plan the biggest dinners I'm going to cook.
Oh, the night before. Oh, 100%. 100%. It is always ours. We have a housekeeper that comes like once a week on Tuesdays, and she's the sweetest woman ever. But it's like Monday night is we're going to cook night. It's also usually when I get home, because I get home from like
you're doing
shows.
weekends. Your stuff's mostly on the weekends.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then I'm home Sunday night, and I don't want to cook. I'm like, okay, order a fucking pizza or like some Shake Shack or whatever. And then it's Monday, we go to Whole Foods in the morning, cook a dinner, and then Tuesday the house is clean, and then we order an Uber Eats again, and then we're back to cooking. So it's like that's always kind of like, the kitchen's so clean, we want to do nothing. Like
Yes,
it's just
totally. Dude.
always the worst. Once you get it clean, you're like, don't touch anything.
Yeah. No, that's 100% the case. And I mean, with a little kid around,
Dude.
has that changed? That's got to change that schedule you just mentioned a little bit.
Dude, it is. What, for touring?
No, for the food part.
Oh.
Like the cooking and prepping. You can't. Or is he got a palate like you? Is
Oh,
he
I
like
made
you?
him have a palate. Yeah. We feed him everything. There's no like getting around that.
What's
like,
his favorite? What's his go-to dinner?
I mean, he's definitely still a kid. He loves mac and cheese. Like,
Of course,
I make a homemade mac and cheese.
You make it homemade.
Yeah,
though.
I don't
You're
do
not
that
fucking
craft
around with
shit. Come on.
Hey man, we grew up on that shit.
Yeah, I grew up on it. That's why I'm like, I can't do this to you, son. There's so much more the world has to offer.
This is true.
Here's some Gouda. Like, dude. Kid's first word was Havarti, basically, dude.
Damn.
No, I love cooking for him too, and just kind of watching him enjoy shit. Like, I'd make short rib, and I'd make stuff like that.
He's
just
in a
kinda
short rib, huh?
Yeah, because kid doesn't know what it is yet.
No,
So
yeah.
once they start going to school and they're, they have their kids and their friends that are like, I don't like fish, and then he'll come home and be like, I don't like fish either, because fucking.
Not necessarily.
Really, you don't think so?
Well, no, my son's like, we go to sushi. He doesn't like sushi rolls, but he likes sashimi.
Yeah.
He'll just grab it with his hands and just fucking dust like a whole plate of sashimi. But
That's
like,
sick.
I think he wears it as a badge of honor because he's probably the only kid at school that eats like that.
Yeah,
and like,
so he's the
anytime
one
he
that's
goes-
like, I try the weird shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so you never know.
That's true.
He could go against the grain.
Sure. I mean, if he's anything like me,
He definitely will.
the dubstep kid in the family. God, dude.
What kind of family you come from?
I just come from a very basic, family.
Siblings?
Just brother and a sister, mom and dad, one uncle with some cousins. Some families from New York mainly, and that's it. I got a grandma, grandpa,
Yeah.
and that was it. So super small, tight family.
Where in New York though? Because you said like we're talking Manhattan, obviously. Is like
Yeah,
the place you love the
so
most.
my grandparents were from Queens and Flushing. And I got an aunt that I see a few times a year who's like, the favorite of the family, and she's out, and well, they're all the other ones are gone, so it's fine. I can say that now. But she's out in Long Island, and we go out and visit her every now and again when we're out there. Yeah, so yeah, dude, it's a tight little family. My brother was at the Cleveland show. Checking everything out. Yeah, he had a good time. It was pretty cool.
Wait. Your brother's who I met that runs merch with you.
Yeah. He's the tall boy.
Yeah. Well,
taller
you guys
boy.
I was like,
Sorry.
You're all tall to me, bro.
Right, yeah, dude. Sorry. Fuck.
That's why I had to put myself on the high seat.
I know,
today.
right? I was like, all right, that's fair enough. Good point. Yeah, dude.
That's cool though, man. That's rad that you get to work with your brother though, right? I mean, that's got to be. I have two older brothers that don't work with them. Very different lives, but like,
right.
To be able to share something like that, and you guys do some rad shit with your merch, by the way.
We go crazy.
Yeah,
we go nuts.
Talk a little bit about that. Fill me in, because like you do a lot of collabs with like some designer shit.
Yeah. So there's a company that we love that has been so rad to us called Dust to Gods, and they're like a very, very cool. They do. What's the word? Upcycling of like designer stuff. So they take like Louis and Gucci and everything, chop it all up, and then they make pieces out of that along with like their own designs and their own pieces. And everything's one of one. It's super, super cool. And they're based in Toronto. We did a bunch of collaborative merch last year that finally launched in October. They had done a ton of my like stage pieces and stuff, and Brian Sinister Gates.
Yep.
He loves their stuff as well. It was like something we talked about.
He's got it like draped all over him on this tour.
Yeah, same, dude. I literally was like, we're gonna literally be like the Dust Boys on this thing. But they've been so cool, man. They make the coolest shit, and we do a bunch of stuff with them. There's another company called Scummy Bears that is like a more like rave festival attire stuff, and they've assisted me since the beginning, since like 2018, and like doing all the sourcing for jerseys and pashminas and stuff. And so we work really closely with them. And then we have another company that's been really cool with a lot of sourcing and sort of like creative direction and stuff called Kill the Eight. They're in Toronto as well. So those
companies in Toronto.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Dust to Gods and Kill the Eight are out there, and so they're really sick. And the merch is just such a really special thing for me because it's I like creating things that I find comfortable and really being hands-on with that, because I think that's something that can go really wrong with artists, is that they kind of like let that go to their management or whatever, and they just kind of like turn away, kind of just expect like a paycheck to come in, instead of like you're really creating something that your fans are using to represent you and what they really care about.
It's the culture that you're creating that goes beyond the performance, right?
100%. Yeah, it's something that I find that's really unique, and I love fashion. I mean, I don't know if you're like a fashion guy, but
I am, but my fashion sense is
not there.
Great. No.
So do you have a stylist for the tour? Because you always look good on stage.
Oh,
but
I appreciate that. No, I mean, I pick out all my own clothes. I do. It's funny. Like we'll give a little behind the scenes here. Like from day one, like I have more of like I don't know. I've always had more of like a punk rock sense in my fashion. Like I just like what I like, and that's just the shit that I like. I mean, I like Converse, I like fucking Vans, I like a fucking whatever. I like a good leather jacket.
Thank you.
That is a great one, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But yeah, I have the wardrobe that I pick out myself. But then our assistant Sarah is taking over. I just ask her. She gets to dress me every day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. But it's been an ongoing tradition. Like all of our assistants or someone in the camp for the last probably 15 years.
Extra set of eyes, just making sure it's
an extra set of eyes. Yeah. Also, like I just don't want to have to think about it sometimes, and I'm just like, and they always have fun with it. I always pick someone who's going to have fun with it,
right?
Or they get to dress me up like a real life Ken doll.
So sick. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of where it comes from. But I appreciate you saying that I look good. I don't know, because I don't know if I have good fashion sense or anything.
Yeah.
Like I see, I like what I like. I mean, I used to love shopping in New York for all
my
that.
Favorite thing.
That was like,
God, it's the best.
It was the Vol and Vod or whatever on St. Mark's used to be like a great place for me. Last time I was there, I couldn't find anything. St. Mark's had completely changed.
It's just gone, yeah.
But
changed, yeah.
It's so unfortunate. But yeah, like there's great shopping in New York for that kind of shit.
If you really dig in and find stuff. I mean, obviously there's like the Sohos and stuff where there's just very traditional high fashion kind of stuff, but then you can just kind of really dig and find a lot of small little shops and people that are just seamstresses coming up with shit and finding all these little pockets that are super cool, man. And
that's actually true. You mentioned seamstress and stylist, and that reminded me I can't like not say Alabama stylist at the beginning of our cycle.
Oh, cool.
She was able to bring some items that I was able to choose from.
Yeah.
Still it's like I prefer that way, actually. If someone can bring me stuff and I could shop there.
Right. And they're just like, this is everything that you're going to like. Here's 14 jackets. Like, pick from these and then whatever. And you're like, okay, this is
It's still shopping.
100%.
But it's like someone's bringing it to me. You know what I mean? And I'm lazy. I know. But like, I finally went to before this
lazy. We're busy. We're just too busy for it.
Yes, very busy.
We can get away with
busy, very busy. Yeah. No, but like before this tour started, like it was the first time I actually went to our local mall and like found stuff that I liked and went shopping in probably at least 10 years.
Wow, no shit. Okay.
Because like most of it, I just find random stuff and just accumulate. Like some of my. I got to show you some of my jackets actually.
Yeah,
that I have. Like I have them from over the years that I haven't even brought out yet because I'm kind of tired of them, to be honest. But they're kind of classic.
Yeah.
So you in leather jackets, you'll appreciate a couple of them. I think.
Big leather jacket guy that I don't get to wear in Miami in 100-degree humidity or 100% humidity, dude. So gnarly. It was actually funny because coming on this tour and a bunch of other dates, I was like looking at the weather and it was 20 degrees in Buffalo and it was going to be whatever. Realized I had no snow jackets or like any sort of like down jacket, anything to keep me warm, and I was just like, fuck, dude, I have to now go shopping for those and do whatever and pick up shit. So it's a little bit of the only thing that's wrong with Miami for That is when you're touring and you realize that you don't have the clothes for it.
Right. Well, that's why you just throw it in a case. Throw your cold clothes in a case that can fly
Exactly.
with you.
Yeah, 100%. When I get to the wardrobe case part of my career, that's gonna be a good day.
Yeah. No, dude, that was an amazing day when it happened. I was like, wait, I don't have to pack everything in one fucking suitcase.
That was what I was hoping for on this tour. We were like getting ready at rehearsal, and it was like 3 days out, and I was just like, hey, are we gonna get a wardrobe case? They're like, no shot. I was like, damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
Into the to me it goes. Fuck.
I'm kind of surprised. I mean, yeah, no, I guess. No, it makes sense. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I actually is somewhere. We went somewhere with that.
I don't know. Fashion's dope.
Fashion.
It's really
Oh,
terrible.
it was coming off your merch.
Yeah,
That's where we started.
Merch. That's true.
The collabs with it. I was just saying it was really cool that you guys are doing that. Now you mentioned before you're on a podcast right now. You mentioned like when you're cooking, you're like it's something to do. Throw on a podcast. What are some of your favorite podcasts to listen to?
Fucking Two Bears One Cave and shit like that,
Oh,
dude.
dude.
The goats.
Yeah.
Tom and Bert, dude.
Yeah,
they're just
dude, they're so funny.
knuckleheads, man.
Yeah.
They're great. Bad Friends, all those kinds of ones. Theo Vaughn's Past Weekend is a good one. It's a lot of just like comedy wants to just take me out of whatever it is I'm doing.
Right.
You know, it's really just cooking and doing whatever. It's just shut everything off. When I go to the gym, I don't listen to music. I like to just kind of go and not have things blasting in my ears because.
I'm just realizing. I'm sorry. If you're into cooking, Bert Kreischer has his new podcast or his new YouTube.
I gotta get into that one.
You gotta. No, I'm saying you got to get on it.
Oh,
He brings on a lot of musical artists.
That'd be
and stuff.
crazy. Yeah. He's got that for the podcast. David Chang just started doing something on Netflix where he's like cooking with different stars. I don't know the name of it, but anything like that I think is great. It's either those podcasts or like master classes every year. Same exact thing with like piano, dude. I've been paying $180 a year for master class, and I listen to half a master class every year, just blowing money on it.
I think that's probably a lot of people,
dude. I mean, I love them; they're great. But then I'm also
I'm not
like,
talking shit, by the way, on master class.
Yeah, dude, master class is
awesome.
So sick. I've learned so many things from them. But at the same time, it's just one of those apps that like I'm never going to get on. When I'm on a plane and I've got 4.5 hours to kill and I'm like, oh, I could watch a couple master classes. I could read a book. Anyway, so let's see what's on TikTok and just do this for fucking 4 hours. And it's just gone. And then I pass out, wake up, and then on the ground we are. So trying to be better about it. Turning 30, need to, up the intelligence a little bit.
No.
Some things.
No.
You're like, no, stay stupid, everybody. Yeah.
You try to say that to yourself, but at the end of the day, it's like, it just doesn't. Dude, no one knows what we're doing here.
No.
We just woke up into existence one day, and we just keep doing it. You find the things that you like, and you fucking go for it.
Yeah. Well, who's calling? Oh, no, he's fine. Fuck that guy. Just my PM probably saying something's on fire or whatever.
Oh, yeah, you got to go check
and I was like, okay, cool. What do you need? He's like, nothing. Just want to let you know. I'm like, okay, cool.
All right, cool. Yeah.
The amount of shit that happens.
We'll deal with that in a second. I'll let you go here in a second, but there's a few things I wanted to talk a little bit more. You got more time?
Oh, dude, absolutely. I got as much time as you need.
Cool. You mentioned before we were talking a little bit about the writing process for you. Being able to do that on a plane, or whatever the case may be. What programs you running? And again, you started with guitar. You said already, but now I imagine you've learned so many other instruments, at least at a level where you can. Again, when you come to drums, are you programming everything, or do you occasionally maybe play a kit to see what it feels like and then get into it?
I would love to play a kit. My building definitely has rules about me having drums in my condo, so that sucks. But
well, like even an electric kit or something like that.
Yeah, that is something I want to get. I really this year want to pick up an electric kit and figure out how to just get it hooked up and track on it, because it would be really fun. But everything's programmed. I do all the programming and stuff like that. Guitar's all tracked, obviously, and then I play bass. I can play a little bit of drums. I haven't played in years, but could. But as far as like the writing process, I use Ableton Live, which is like a pretty common one for people to use for this kind of genre.
Okay. I'm not familiar. That's why I asked
really?
it. No,
okay.
I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I'm old school, man.
Pro Tools running.
That's right. You see it right over there.
Gross. Ew.
I mean, it's just
dude.
that was
like
new.
the MySpace of DAWs.
It totally is, dude. It totally is. I know I'm fucking old. I know I'm ancient with that thing.
Cool.
But
honestly,
it's funny.
I wish I knew Pro Tools.
Honestly, it's just what comes natural, because when we started tracking and we were first introduced to like digital recording and stuff. Like that was the first thing, and like, everybody was using it. And so I'm just familiar with it because I've been using it for 20 plus years now.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing. There's so many other like DAWs that have really caught up to the Pro Tools and stuff like that. Logic, obviously,
I know they're so much better and everything.
FL
now.
For like EDM and electronic is massive. But yeah, I mean, the thing that's interesting about being in this world is like you're not just getting really good at one thing, like whether it's guitar or it's something like you're the producer, and then you kind of got to mix a little bit, and if you're trying to get tracks done quickly, they have to be mastered to a certain point right away. So there's like a lot of things that have to be picked up as a DJ and a producer to really encompass a sound and everything like that. So unless you're outsourcing everything to mixing and mastering engineers, but that takes so much time that we kind of just skip that and just literally bounce shit out, and then that's the song.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's what I've pretty much concentrated on over the last how many years, and guitar has personally probably suffered a little bit, and I've had to focus on other areas. But
no, I didn't see you miss a beat in Cleveland, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching you fucking shred it, and I was just like, "That's
thank you, man."
Yeah,
Appreciate
it's
it.
Again so cool to see like that. Again, being a layman to this world, like seeing that, like the guitar element, the singing element, you standing on top of your fucking screens and shit like that. It's like that's really bringing. I've heard of people bringing rock to the dubstep world, and it's like it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's like that's really bringing the rock element, right? In my opinion, that's rock and roll to me.
Right.
So.
Yeah. There's a little bit more of like a stage presence to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. A lot of people think DJs, you're just kind of behind the decks doing your thing, and like that's pretty common, but there's definitely a larger audience now for people that are trying to be a little bit more not performative, I should say, but just really giving the audience a little bit more energy in a show instead of just the old school, like I'm just supposed to sit here, you're supposed to dance. It's like now there's something far more visually appealing about having someone that's a little more high energy on stage, and the visual side of things, and lighting and lasers and fire and fucking everything that you can throw at it.
It's so cool to see, and like I said, inspiring. And back to the writing real quick before we get off that. I love that you were saying like how you have to learn so many other hats along the way because you are you're a one man show for the most part, right? And like I mean, it's like even like doing something like this. I've got Rafa over here who's out on the tour. He does all of our Avenged stuff, so it's just he's nice enough to help me out with this. But I'm usually running all this stuff myself too, so I have to learn. It's but it's fun. I'm glad you brought it up because it's like you're forced to, but at the same time I'm sure you have fun learning a lot of these new traits.
100%. It's really cool. It allows you to definitely sort of curate more, and I think it's something that people get a little bit apprehensive about doing because they don't want to really like fuck up or sort of like be in a sort of critical eye. Because like what you're doing right now with the podcast and sort of going more into a broadcasting sense of things, it's the same thing with DJs. We're like we kind of have to manage our social media, and we have to maybe create a personality if that's what we choose to do, is sort of like putting yourself out there a little bit more, which opens you up to sort of judgment and things like that. And it's less of just like, hey, here's the music in the live show. It's also like, here's the inside of my entire life and everything else that builds this. Like, why are you sort of
that's this day and age though, isn't it?
100%. It's the influencer age.
But it is cool. There's good and bad of it, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's you got to get used to certain things about it, but at the end of the day, people can share as much as they want to share, and they can create their brand how they want to create their brand. Some things might be a little bit easier for people to attach themselves to. Like, my kid running around saying fuck is like not necessarily telling of my music or like what I do live, but you know what? It's also something that
people want to see I think people want to see the other side, not the inside.
Yeah,
they want to see inside of you.
Yeah, exactly. No, you don't. Trust me. I'm leaving that to my proctologist.
That's for the OnlyFans.
Yeah,
site,
exactly.
Right?
Fuck, man. God.
But no, I think people want to see that because I mean it's become more normal. I mean it's taken probably 10, 15 years now of social media and people. It's become the norm.
Yeah.
But I think. And at first, I was really adverse to this whole thing because I was just like, I don't want to see what you ate. Like, stop showing me what the fuck.
With a fucking filter on it and shit like that.
But I do think there's the other side of it where they're like, for the fans, they want more. Like they want, and it's not. At first, I thought it was just like, oh, you're just like parasites. You just fucking grab it and you want it. And it's like no, it's like. they want to know that what your art is where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Where's the real in you?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you showing your kid, you know, and stuff like that. Just that's showing the real.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I think that's what makes a lot of artists special to people. And I think there's always going to be like the brand of sort of the ambiguous or anonymous sort of artist, you know. In DJing, there's a lot of mass people. I mean, you can look at like the Sleep Tokens even of the of the rock world. Where
I tried to get them on the podcast and they said no. Yeah, which I totally respect.
Totally,
by the way,
yeah.
That's your thing. That's your vibe. That's what you know.
Right.
I mean, we're out here with Poppy, who's amazing.
So
she's
awesome.
got she controls
crazy, man.
and she controls her own narrative. I mean, I think that is the new age artist right now. Is everyone's understanding that you can control your own narrative.
Right.
When I was coming up, it was, you know, the magazines were creating whatever narrative they wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, and they got to say what they wanted to, and every like few months, if you put out a new record, you had to go do your whole press tour of it, and just, you know, getting in all these different magazines, and there was going to be the questions of like, what do you do in your time off? And now it's like I can just put that on my story, and you can see. And I think for me, you know, like sharing the stuff that I do isn't necessarily just to try and sort of put on some different look at it. It's just simply like who I am is like, I'm just a dude that happens to make metal dubstep, and I got a kid and a wife, and that's it. You know what I mean? And like in 20 years, I'm not going to look back and be like, oh my God, that was so weird of me to have been who I was. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I like that all of a sudden you went into robot voice though when you said that.
Yeah, I guess, right?
No, but it's true. I mean, and I love that because even after watching the show, knowing your art, everything like that, going back and seeing that, it shows the real and it shows who you are. And I can see where you're getting those. I think we were talking about the other night, you know, not taking yourself too seriously moments on stage. A
lot of those.
Your intro that I saw for, I think it was one of the Lost Lands, was like so fucking hilarious to me. It was like, I can't even remember exactly what it was. I'm sure you do because you were involved in it.
Right.
Like it was like something about the voice is just going on and on, like giving this whole fucking
like
speech.
the whole thing of to why like Ohio is amazing kind of
That's
thing.
what it was. That's what it was. That's the one that I saw. Yeah.
Right.
And I just like, I love that you can have humor in it too. Like you got it. We didn't get into this industry as performers to like just putting a blanket over it, right? Yeah. Entertainment and performers because, you know, we were like so dead serious about it.
Exactly.
Like it's,
yeah, dude.
And because we were
it
so
shouldn't be taken
tortured.
that serious.
Yeah.
You know, like
no, we're having fun, man. You get into it. Like it's okay to have fun at creating art too.
100%. And I think like especially with like you're saying with the intros, like that's also just how I kind of grew up and the people I liked that I saw also like metal on the other side of like, you know, actors and stuff of the Jack Blacks of the world and stuff like that, Tenacious D, and you know they have such a huge affinity for rock and metal, but they do these massive comedic performances and they add it all in. I'm like, well, that's so cool. Like I don't want to sacrifice that love that I have to just try and be like everything's serious. And we've done a lot of very serious intros and it's cool, but I'm like, that's kind of already done.
Yeah,
you know, we can do that all day, but like having
you could always
fun
go back to it. It's just
it's just cool to like have those moments in a set where you just kind of don't care and take people out of this like super aggressive metal section of whatever it is and just be like, now let's just be real for a second and then we can go back. Like, yeah.
There's a time and place for everything, right? Yeah. And speaking of like bringing people in and out of the elements, like when you're doing your live stuff, you're doing your songs that everyone can listen to and should go listen to, but you're also like, especially I noticed on this tour, you're doing your interludes are bringing up riffs from like System of a Down, Linkin Park, these big rock, you know, Rob Zombie, Dragula, stuff like that. That was a fucking sick spot, by the way. But my question there though is like, how do you decide at your interludes? Does it change every cycle show, or is it change based on the region you're in, or like what goes into that?
Yeah, I mean it always is.
I'm just kidding. That's my bag, huh?
Yeah,
it's not my bag, baby.
I think, you know, with that, it's with like a tour like this, we stay consistent every night for the most part. The only thing we change is like the intro. We kind of like to give the city a little bit more of a uniqueness to it and something they can relate to. So like, you know, in Cleveland we mentioned like LeBron James, and tonight there's like Founders Brewery and shit like that, because it's like I guess what we have in Grand Rapids, and so, or like, you know, I guess Buffalo was Josh Allen,
Oh, okay,
just like little saying
when
something.
You said
in the
founders, I was like, okay. I was just nodding along.
Yeah, like yeah, for sure, dude. Beer. I mean, I was like, I don't really know what else to do. There's no sports teams. I know. So
I don't know any of it.
Yeah.
That goes back to like earlier in the conversation. We never grew up thinking like Grand Rapids was the shit.
No.
But it is, and we're so happy to be here tonight.
Yeah, and thank you for buying. Tickets are still available at the box office. You can purchase them.
I should say coming until next week. Sorry you missed it, guys.
Yeah, okay, right. Shit. It's not live? All right. Yeah, I mean, I think what was the question?
Oh, I was asking about how you choose those.
Oh, right, DJing.
Well, how you choose those interludes and stuff.
Yeah,
right,
like what songs. So I mean, a lot of it's like making edits of songs I like.
Yeah.
And sort of being like, there's places to put them in sets, and definitely like regionally matters. Like depending on where I'm playing, like if there's a band that's from that place, like that is definitely the way to do it. Like when we go to Des Moines, like I'll probably want to throw in a little extra Slipknot. Like,
right.
Things like that are gonna be a little more towards that audience. That we're in. And then as far as like for the tour, it definitely is more like knowing tempo wise where I want to go, because it's still DJing and being like, okay, cool, like I'm at a 170 section, BPM wise I'm going to drop down to 125. Okay, so what's something that would be like go into like a house section and just have like a sort of like 4 on the floor hit, and it's like I could do 9 Inch Nails, Hand That Feeds, probably too niche, let's try Dragula or try like something like that.
Okay.
So it's really off of a lot of like tempos and things like that, and sort of keys, like, you know, what song. So it's having,
naturally.
Yeah, it's having a catalog of like all the songs that are, you know, not to say hits, but like stuff that like people will probably recognize or enjoy, and then mashing them up or whatever. And it's like taking the system sample from BYOB and just putting it before a drop and having what's called like a late drop, which is where you expect it to kick in, and then there's like 2 bars that go by and then it kicks in. Yeah, I mean, DJing is crazy with that kind of shit, like doing all the fake outs and stuff like that where it's supposed to hit, and then there's like 8 bars of, you know, just a sound with no drums, and the drums come in, shit like that. So
those are always, I mean, that's been impactful in rock for a long time. I do think it's more impactful in dubstep, I'll be honest. Like, sorry, you old school people, but like, yeah, I mean, like, it's been done. Like, it's been done. It's just, it's a different form. The stalls, they were called stalls before. You're absolutely right. Like, you know, Metallica did it on the Black Album, a bunch.
100%.
You know?
Literally, like Sad But True, where it like stops and you have like the bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, that's a dubstep kind of thing, right? I mean, have you sampled that yet?
Did I ever do Sad But True? I didn't use Sad But True. Excision did it once. He did Sad But True with the bell from like Ride the Lightning, I think, in the beginning, or not Ride the Lightning. For Whom the Bell Tolls.
For Whom the Bell Tolls, yeah. But on the Ride the Lightning record,
right? Yeah, I was kind of right with that one. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely cool stuff to do with that. I love sampling old records. Like I've definitely like, you know, ripped stems from Metallica and like put them in remixes, or like the bass hits from Wherever I May Roam, stuff like that. Like just cool shit that like, dude, if you know, you know.
Yeah,
but like,
you
know, I've definitely taken like Pretty Hate Machine and stuff like that, and like ripped little things from there and put them in. A friend of mine uses like one of the synth sounds from Terrible Lie and a lot of his shit, and it's like kind of one of those ear candy things that if you get it, you're gonna be like, that's tight. Like the fact that you could sort of like take the inspiration from that. So yeah, that's a big part of the production. But yeah, I mean, that's the set.
Yeah, I just found it interesting because like we were talking the other night too. Like you give it a little teaser, and everyone, like, I mean, our mutual friend, or not mutual friend, our buddy that's out, Walnuts, was asking about when he heard like the piano part to Black Parade.
Oh yeah,
and he was like expecting to hear more, and it was just the 3 notes.
Yeah,
so
literally
like,
just 3, just trigger the audience really quick, and they're like,
I didn't know what he was talking about yet at that time until I went to Cleveland. I was like, I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of like little things like that. Like replayed one of my good friends, or 2 of my good friends, have a song, Subtronics and Grabbits, a song called Into Pieces, and like have the vocal from that, and then like replay the parts to Hurt from 9 Inch Nails, and like put them together, and like probably 6 people in the audience will recognize it, but like it's just cool little shit like that in a set list will look rad.
Yeah, and it's like, as you said, if you know, you know, but even if you don't, it still sounds cool.
Yeah,
you know,
it still sounds rad. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I took. Yeah, that's what I took away from it too, man. Again, thank you for your time. I got one more question before I go, but let's do a little plug in real quick. Everyone got to go check out more Sullivan King if you haven't already. If you're here and you already know, then you know.
And sick.
You know, that's rad. But if you don't, definitely go check out more. I'm going to go be checking out some more. Where should we send everybody to see more Sullivan King?
You can go to YouTube for live sets, and you can actually check out a little bit more of the show, which I think is something everybody should do, because you'll get a little bit more excited about what's happening on this tour. And then for music, your Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, Tidal, whatever you like. Check out Blame. That's the latest song that's out now, or you can hear it on Octane. It's playing. So That's what I got.
Yeah. Oh, you guys did stuff with Papa Roach too. I forgot to mention that. That's really cool. Good friends with Jacoby.
Yeah. Dude, he's the man.
We did tours with him back in the day.
Cool,
he's such a nice guy.
Yeah, sweetest dude.
Dude, he's a legend. He's a living legend, man.
He is the best, man.
But speaking of living legends, this is what I was waiting to get to. Huge diehard Laker fan, basketball.
Fuck, dude. Yep.
Lost Lands. You fucking broke guitars with. Big old was it DJ
Mr. Shaquille O'Neal,
DJ
O'Neal. Diesel,
yeah, DJ Diesel, man.
Yeah.
And I also saw like he was interacting with your son, everything like that.
So crazy.
He's obviously everyone at home who's like a fan of Shaq's probably we can all gather that's not fake what we see on TV. He's just he seems like a really rad dude.
Dude,
I've never met
so
him.
Cool.
Tell me about your experiences with him, and like, do you have his number at this point?
I don't have his number, but I do get FaceTimes via all of the people that I do know, like on that team. I'll just get random Shaq FaceTimes and shit, and it is so weird, but it's also the coolest thing on the planet. So
does it still like? I mean, you're from the LA area.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I grew up on it. So
fucking...
on Christmas, I was at my parents' house, and they had just moved, and they had like boxes of my shit from growing up that I had to go through. And I pulled out my like 2002 reversible Shaq jersey from the Lakers. It was like 34, black and yellow, O'Neal on the back, and it's like a medium. Like it will fit my kid in like 5 years. Kind of thing. Or it could
fit me now, probably.
It could probably fit you now. I'll actually have my wife send it out. Yeah, be sick. We'll bring you to the Newark show. You're like, yeah, vintage jerseys. But he's just the coolest and sweetest guy, and he gives everybody the time of day. And no matter what, like, it doesn't matter who you are. I was in Germany where we shot that like screaming video together. Yeah. And my manager who was with us is like this 5'2" sweetest girl ever named Taryn, and she was in the garden. If she's like 5'3", she's gonna scream at me. I actually don't know how tall she is. She's at a little over 5 foot.
Yeah.
Sorry, Taryn.
I love how guys, people like of my stature, I could say this, like to make sure don't take an inch away from us.
Yeah. Just keep it a little higher, you know. So, she was like in the corner. We were shooting this video, and Shaq looked over, and he was just like, "Who's that lady over there?" And I was like, "That's my manager, Taryn." And he's like, "Come here." And she's like walking over. She's like, "Okay." He's like, "I'm gonna pick you up for a photo." And he like literally just lifts her up and is just like bench pressing her just for no reason and just taking. And she's awesome. Like, "This is the greatest and weirdest thing that's ever happened to me." Yeah. And it's just
Shaq, like I'm only 5'6", so you gotta lift me up next.
He 100% will, man. He's lifted me up. He's been like, "Come here, he'll pick me up." I'm like, "Oh my god. Okay, put me down." Like,
and you're a big guy, but I'm sure that you don't get lifted up very often. I got to imagine. So like to have that massive
one of the greatest centers of all time, just with one hand. Literally, it's just you don't have a choice in where your body ends up at that point. Dude. But he's so fucking cool, man.
I can't wait to meet you one day, Shaq. But
we're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, seriously, dude. Such a big fan. I mean, going back to those Lakers days again, being in the LA. You mentioned Christmas. You had that. Yeah. You had that thing. Remember those Christmas games all the time?
I had tickets from. I also kept all my ticket stubs from when I had gone, and I had like finals game tickets from 2008. Had Christmas game tickets. Had everything. I had like a stack of them.
Dude,
like I got Kobe tattooed on my ankle. I got fucking 24 is like my number, like for tour passes.
That's me too.
So that's why I didn't get 24, motherfuckers. No,
in my camp, they know you all got your tags and
stuff.
Yeah,
100%. That's my number, man. Yeah.
Me and Matt battle for that one. So
I'm sure
whoever gets 24 or 8 first, we always get the other one.
You always get the other. That's cool. Yeah, dude, that's always been my shit. So
yeah, dude. Yeah. So great. We could have gone for like another 3 hours. I'm sure. So we'll talk again. We'll stay in touch. Obviously, we'll have you on again.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you everybody for checking this out. Make sure you go check out Sullivan King on tour. I'm gonna be checking him out on his headline stuff, but right now with Avenged Sevenfold as well. We got a couple weeks left of this, so go find some tickets if you can. And until next time, as always.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you, man.